much valued, yeah. So, yeah. So, as you got older, it's almost you got more important. Mm.
Uh, uh, Especially, I would like to know about the Kamatua, the
Kaumātua.
old people,
Yes.
because nowadays we are looking in New Zealand. They are all the people. They are individualist.
Yes.
So I think the Maori culture, it's not. They are not individualist before,
Yes.
but now they are coming individualist. So what was before? It is the same like now, or
Yeah.
it's
Well.
different?
Yes. Well, in rural areas, people lived in the same place. You know, either lived with their grandparents, or everyone sort of lived either in the same vicinity or the same house, and were codependent. They all looked after each other. And I remember my grandfather used to buy a big trailer load of cabbages,
Yeah.
and then he used to go around and give them to everybody, you know, and we used to always gather at my grandparents' house for Christmases and gatherings. So they're like the kind of heart of the whānau, heart of the family. As people moved away, moved to town, families became disconnected, I think, from that way of living. And as people have aged in the city, their lives have changed. Many people go home, though. You know, they've gone back to live back in the rural area as they've become older. There's quite a few that have done that. And then they go home after 20 or 30 years. They go back to their villages or wherever they come from. But the ones who live here, yeah, they've become isolated.
So who they look after when they go back to their...
Whānau? Yeah, whānau. Yeah, so it may not be their children. It might be their nieces or nephews or wider family. Yeah.
So that is the culture. They have to keep them, their children, or...
Yeah, it's not just children, I think. You know, I mean...
Society.
Wider family. So, you know, wider family, yeah. You know, I mean, mostly it's your own children or grandchildren. Grandchildren look after old people. They're old people, seem to. Yeah.
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren seem to as they get older, yeah. And the disconnect in town is... and so in communities like West Auckland, they have kaumātua rūnanga. They have so they have groups for kaumātua to gather, and they go on social outings, etc., etc. So in the city, they're creating opportunities for older Māori people to be together, and they're creating kaumātua flats so that they can live beside each other around the marae. So that's how things have changed, I think.
So what do you think the new society, I mean the new generation of Maori, do they think to change the culture as before? Or they don't?
I think in my own experience, it's sad that, you know, I've got my mother's in her age, she's just in her early 80s, and she can look after herself. But so I said to her the other day, well, Mum, you can always come and live with me, because I know she's worried, and so she's thinking about going to live in a retirement home, etc. So if she wanted to make that choice, that's fine, but she needs to know that she can come and live with me if she wants to. Yeah, and I think to survive, life's so different. You know, people work, and they work longer, and both people have to work, both partners have to work. So you just don't have that opportunity to look after it.
Yeah.
I wish we could do it better. But just the way life's become to survive. Yeah.
So
We've been forced almost.
So when you're comparing
Yeah.
between the previous culture
Yeah.
and nowadays,
Yeah.
which are following the
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
what do you think? Which one the best one?
Oh, well, I think the old one is the best one.
The old one.
The old one is the best one, yeah. Where, you know, young people respect the old people and the old people feel wanted and loved. Really, that's all it is.
So, in my opinion, culture is your identity. So, in your side, what do you think to change this culture in the previous culture?
Why? Why has it happened?
No, what do you think to be changed?
What I think made it change? I think what made it change is that more and more Māori came and lived in the cities for work.
Yeah.
And in that, they became disconnected because we're not city people. We're country people. We're rural people. We're iwi people. So I'm 2 generations away from my iwi. You know, so where my parents come from. My parents were brought up in our iwi region. Then they moved away, and then, you know, I've moved. So I haven't brought my children up in our iwi area.
Mm-hmm.
So the more generations you leave your home, the more you become disconnected from that way of living. And see, if I go back to where I come from, many people live the same way they lived 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I envy them. I envy them.
So that is my question. Thank you so much
Is that all, yeah?
for your time. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you anything. Is that enough?
Yep.
Is that enough?